Okay, here's problem number 6 from your quiz. The first method is it asks you to evaluate. Remember when you're doing function notation, it is always f of x. The negative 4 here is the x value. This piecewise function has 3 different parts. So we have to look each time to figure out which part to use by looking at the x value. If x is negative 4, I think which of these would solve for negative 4? Well, negative 4 is less than negative 3. So I'm going to use this function, which is 5. Let's go to the second one. X is negative 2. No, negative 2 is not less than negative 3. It's negative 2 between negative 3 and 1. That's the one part I should use. I should use negative 2x plus 3. And now I'm going to substitute in negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 plus 3, that comes out to 4 plus 3 is 7. Then let's do 2. Well, is 2 between negative 3 and 1? No, it's bigger than 1. Is 2 greater than 4? No. None of these is 2. So therefore, this is undefined. Now let's look at the next one. X is 5. If x is 5, which of these should I use? Well, 5 is greater than 4. So let's use the third one. 1/2 x. So that's 1/2. Put in the 5, or x, and you get 5/2. So now we have evaluated 3 points that are on our function. Now let's go ahead and graph this function. So for the first part, I simply have y equals 5, which is a horizontal line. So here's my horizontal line. Now, I know this is true only when my x's are less than or equal to negative 3. So in this whole section, x is less than negative 3, and I'm going to stop right here at x is negative 3. Note I'm putting a solid dot here because this is less than or equal to. Let's review this. Less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to, are shown with a solid dot or a square bracket. Less than, greater than, are shown with an open dot and a round parenthesis. Okay, let's go to the second part. This case, we are graphing a function, a line. The slope is -2, and the b, which is the y-intercept, is 3. So I'm going to start at 3 on my y-axis. Then the slope is -2. So I go down 2 over 1. And then I'm going to continue in this direction. And now I can connect my points. Notice I stopped at x is -3. I stopped the line at that point. And on this side, I stopped the line at x is 1. Notice it is a solid circle because it's less than or equal to. It is an open circle at -3. Now I just have one last line to graph. This one is m equals 1/2, and the b value is 0. Since this one is only on this section, I'm just going to start by lightly drawing it in, and then I'm going to go back and erase that part. So with my blue pen, I'm going to lightly draw in the line. The line would start at 0, and then it would go up 1 over 2, up 1, over 2, up 1, over 2, and so I have this line. But I know this line is only defined when x is greater than 4. So I am going to start with x with an open circle because it's greater than, and it's going to continue for all the x values that are to the right. I'll then go back and erase this blue line, which I had just used to show. So this should be my total function and the answer. Notice when you look at your function, it will always pass the vertical line test. There should never be points that overlap like this. This would be wrong. You would go back and erase. You knew something didn't work. Because there are, in failing the vertical line test, there are points at different spots. So if you see something like this, you know it is an error, and you should find that and correct it. This one is correct because for every x value, there's only one y value. So now the last step is to find the domain. The domain, remember, is the x value. We can do this in two ways. We can look at our graph, and then we can also look at what we had originally defined it. So I see here that it's everything that's less than -3. That's correct. So it's starting at negative infinity, and then it's continuing. Notice that these two actually end up connecting. So it goes up to -3, but then it continues, right? It just jumps up, but there is something always there. And then it continues to x is 1. Notice the x is 1 here. That is a square bracket because it's equal to, and it's a solid dot. Now you'll see there's a gap. So I'm going to put a U or, and then it's going to start again when x is 4. And then it continues to x is infinity. Notice this one has to have a round parenthesis because that's greater than, not greater than